Hello and welcome to the BSHL podcast. I'm your host, Corey, joined by my co host, the other Corey.
I've been needled a few times this week. If I
He's really
sound
sugar
weird,
knee again right now. He's sugar knee and he's
sugar face.
toothless. He's toothless sugar knee.
Yeah, I had a wisdom tooth removed, so if I talk a little weird, um, my apologies. Let me just say how quickly we decided on this episode. Corey was like, "Schedule's out. Want to go on StreamYard? Just chat about it." Yeah. He goes, "How do you feel?" I'm like, "I feel good. Want to record." And
Well, here
here
we
we
are.
are, just impromptu. Here we go.
You didn't say no. You didn't say no.
I did
All right.
not say no.
So we're talking about the 2025-2026 regular season schedule, which was released today. It's normally released around the mid-August to the 20th of August, so we're literally a month and a half early. Credit to Roger Brunn and anybody else that put a lot of work into this.
Absolutely.
All the teams that had to put work into this. I know it's hard to schedule all these games. So props to the teams, props to the commish or president or whatever the hell he calls himself. I call him Roger. Anyway, so let's look at the schedule, Corey. Let's start with the Amherst Ducks. Their opening game Sunday, October the 12th, Fredericton. The
2
one thing that
p.m.
I'm noticing about this is they've got a handful of 2 p.m. games, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, matinee games. I'm not going to complain about that.
I love
But
matinee games.
October 12th, I have to be done work by then. I must be done. So that's for the second year in a row. We're probably starting with Amherst.
Well, no, because that's Sunday, so we'll be at games on Friday and Saturday. But yeah, so
Well,
2
the
p.m.
12th,
Fredericton in Amherst.
that's the first game of the season, right? We're probably
No,
there.
no, there's games on Friday and Saturday that weekend.
Where I don't see them.
It's because I'm only looking at the Amherst Duck schedule.
Ah, okay.
Um, they also finished the season with two 2 p.m. games, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
right.
I think that's Fredericton's first game as well, which adds a little bit to it. Let's take a look at the next team, the Bucktush JCs. They start Friday, October the 10th
There we go.
in the Peninsula at the SAD Un, so that will be in Trackety at 8 p.m. Um, and then the first Sunday game for Bucktush in Elsa Puckduck. So that schedule for Bucktush starts a little bit of pressure there for the JCs. You start off in the Peninsula,
Well,
tough place to play, and then against your rival in this new conference, the Elsa Puckduck Hawks.
yeah. I think it's just a pleasure to go see LC and Bucktouche play. It hasn't been that long since I've been following senior hockey, and this rivalry is already like Montreal Toronto levels for me in nostalgia.
Yeah.
So, you just go there, you enjoy the game, whatever happens, happens. Uh, I'm I've already predicted Bucktouche winning the cup this year. Like I think they're going to be a powerhouse. I think they're
I
going to
can't
be
believe that you
hungry.
feel that. I can't believe you're ready to make that prediction. We're not even close to the start of the season.
I gut feeling. Gut feeling. The stunned faces when Miramichi won that game. It was like, oh, we'll get him next time. Well, there's no next time. This
I
is
just
it.
want to note that as of right now, when you look at that Bucktush schedule, their games are all at the JK, except for two. On the 24th of October, as of now, they're playing at the Capellet Arena, and on the 12th of December, they're playing at the
That's right.
Capellet Arena. Interesting. I like it. I don't
Well,
mind that at all, but
they,
it
they
could
did
change, and they could all be at the JK in the end
they did that last year too, where it
with the
was going to
Forum.
be at the Forum,
Mm-hmm.
and that was quickly changed. I think
Don't
it's.
gas up your car to go to Capellet yet, but I would love to be in Capellet for some hockey this season. I think that would be a
I
lot of
wouldn't
fun.
mind seeing one, odd arena here and there. So I haven't been to the Capitol Arena yet. So
I'm a fan. Let's go quick here to the Miramichi Northmen. They're starting their season Friday, October the 10th, at home at the Civic against a rival for them and rivals in this new division. The Dalhousie Marauders are in Miramichi on Friday night, 8:15 at the Civic. The champs are back home.
it's funny because the two previous seasons, the first game of the season has been Miramichi Bucktouche, and they've ended that this year
That's
And
how
I
the
think
season finishes this year, apparently for
that's
them.
how the season finishes. And I think with how things finished in the semifinals, I think we're looking at a Buck Touche Miramichi rivalry going forward.
Looking at all of the teams' first games, I think the exception being Bucktouche and the Peninsula being the first game there. Everybody else plays against a division team
Yep.
on their first game. So
Yeah.
Miramichi, though, starting at home Friday, October the 10th at the Civic, 8:15. Get there, get your Putin. I'm sure it's going to be a packed
It's always
spot.
the Putin.
All about the Putin. The Bell Bay Rocks
I'm
are
curious
starting
about
their
this one.
season Saturday, October the 11th. So the second day of the season, the Peninsula is in Bell Bay at the Petit Rocher Arena, 8 p.m. on Saturday night. I don't like the time. I'm going to start with that. As a person who has to commute, 8 p.m. sucks, but it's not easy to get ice time. So if they feel that 8 p.m. is what's going to work for them, I respect that. But
I'm noticing one thing here that's really breaking my heart. The York Arena has one game, December
that's
6th.
the Bell Bay Rocks schedule.
Yep.
That's not the Fredericton schedule. So we're not
Oh,
quite there
okay,
yet.
okay. Oh,
But
okay.
one thing that I will say is when I look at the Bell Bay schedule, they have a lot of home games early on.
Yeah. My God, yeah, they have.
6 of their first 7 games are at home. And then they play a fair amount on the road later on, which can be a benefit, can make it tough. So they start
Yeah,
against the Peninsula Friday on the 11th. On the 17th, Miramichi comes to Bell Bay.
you're right though. It can be a double-edged sword because
Can be a double-edged sword.
if you lose a few of those games, now your back's against the wall going into
Enemy
uncharted
territory.
waters.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's going to help get a lot of momentum going for the city and for the team. So hopefully they can pack that little arena, and I can't wait to be there. Honestly, Saturday, October the 11th, 8 p.m. Peninsula in Bell Bay. Let's take a look now at the Dalhousie Marauders. Much as this year, their rink's not normally open that first weekend of the season, so they start the second weekend at home. But Dalhousie and Miramichi opening night. A week later, Dalhousie in Shippigan, 8 p.m. And then the following night on October 18th, Bell Bay makes a short drive from Tito Shea to Dalhousie to face the Dalhousie Marauders.
How
I think
far
that's
is
going to
Belle
be
Bay? How far is Belle Bay in Dalhousie?
40 minutes, 30, about 40, 45 minutes. It's going to be a hell of a
So
rivalry.
this is going to be the rivalry. Like if everything
Yeah.
goes well, this is going to be one for the ages.
I think you're going to have a triangle there. I think Dalhousie is going to have a massive rivalry against um, Petit Rocher and the Peninsula. I think that's going to be a very interesting triangle. And Miramichi's in that division. I think Miramichi already has a great rivalry against Dalhousie. I expect them to have a bit of a rivalry here against Belle Bay. I will say that's one of the most disappointing things with the way that this is lined up is that Miramichi is not in the same division as Fredericton, because that historically for me has been a very special rivalry going back to the Lumberjack days.
Yeah. Like most of the players from the Lumberjack days are there. It's gonna be a rivalry no matter what because Miramichi, like you said it last week, without John Hardy, do they win the cup? You know, and now John Hardy's with the Express, so
The Dalhousie Marauders going to be looking here to avenge that loss. I expect big things from Dalhousie again this year. They're going to have a hell of a team.
yeah.
Let's head over to the Elspeth Duck Hawks 2025-2026. They open the season. Can't ask for better than that. Sunday, October 12th, Bucktouche in Elspeth, 5:30, same old start time, Kent North Arena. It's going to be some can't miss hockey. That's going to be one of those days where I think we split up as a podcast team. Some
Probably.
people are going to end up at the Kent North. Some people will end up in Amherst. Whoever's in Amherst will end up making the drive to the Kent North for the third period.
I can already predict how this goes. Me and you are gonna be in Amherst, and the rest of the crew are gonna be in Elsie.
I can predict that you're going to drive to Rishabakto, drop your car off here, go with me to Amherst, come back to Rishabakto for the third period of LC Bucktouche, and we catch probably the second half of that game. Because the 2 o'clock
Yeah.
start time, 2 o'clock start time means that game should be done around 4:30. Do some interviews around 4:45. We get on the highway, and Amherst is about an hour and 15 or so from Rishabakto if you're driving legally. So let's say we make it in an hour and five. Um, we probably get here for some part of the second period. So Bucktush Elspachtuck, though, you can't ask for better than that for me.
I think that it's one of those games that it's a privilege to watch. You want to see both teams at even strength, and Bucktouche pretty much had Elsie's number this year.
Agreed.
Um, Much like LC had their number a few years ago. And then for our first season, it was kind of like a mixed bag where Bucktouche wasn't great, but really wanted to beat LC. And that's what makes a great rivalry. I'm curious to see what LC ices. A lot of moving pieces are gone
Yeah.
from LC. The Doketown line gone. Ryu, I believe, is no longer there, right?
As of right now, he hasn't been announced anywhere, but technically his rights should have gone back to Fredericton theoretically.
Brett McLean as
Brett McLean
well
should be
was
gone as well.
so like. There's a lot like you have to pull a rabbit out of the hat if you're LC,
And let's
and
not
it's not
forget that right
impossible.
now, not a player announced for the Elspach Hawks. We have no
Not
idea what
one.
their team's going to look like. I would have to hope that Brody comes back. I loved watching Brody
Yes,
MacArthur. If there's one
absolutely,
thing that I can say about last year, Brody, one of my favorite players to watch in this league.
absolutely.
Love the way that he plays. Fun guy to watch. Nice guy. Thought he added a lot to the Hawks. So I'm hoping he comes back. I'm hoping they bring in another couple guys from maybe PEI, some Junior A guys. Who knows? I want a spotlight here for you, Corey, in case you didn't notice. Friday, October 24th, 2025, Elspachtuck in Miramichi, Friday night. Finals rematch at the Civic, October 24th, a week before Halloween. That's going to be a can't miss game.
It's a can't miss game, and I think we're gonna find out really quick on October 12th because I predict Bucktouche to be just a powerhouse this year. I've been wrong before. There's just something that tells me the Bucktouche is gonna be this dominant force again. But if Elsie can hold their own against Bucktouche, if they can ice a really good team, then this game against Miramichi on October 24th really is can't miss.
I'm
I
not
think
sure
it's
if you
can't.
saw the signing this week by the JCs, but Garrett Clark, former
Mm-hmm.
Halifax Moosehead, who went on to play in the ECHL, played in Europe, played some semi pro senior in Quebec. He's got a hell of a pedigree, and
Yeah,
he's a solid defenseman. If you ask me
absolutely.
what was Bucktush missing last year to get them over that hurdle, I would say goaltending. No, I'm just kidding. They have one of the best goalies in the
Oh
league.
my God.
I would tell you, I'm kidding. I would tell you that their only weakness would have been on depth on defense. So if they're
Yeah.
trying to fix something this offseason, it's defense. Their problem
Mm-hmm.
wasn't putting the puck in the net. My God. Have Cormier not get suspended for the last games of the playoffs. I think that's a good strategy as well. But if they add some depth to their defensive core, you've got some great guys coming back.
Yep.
And I don't know. I would like to see some natural defensemen playing D in Bucktush. Maybe you move Malcolm Arsenault up front if he's coming back. I assume that he is. Um, but if not, he stays on D and he's a solid defenseman. But adding somebody like Garrett Clark, whoo, instantly makes him a contender. I completely agree because you've already got arguably the best goalie in the league.
You have the best goalie in the league. Until I've been proven otherwise, Colette's the number one guy.
I mean, any argument that people would have had last year would have been for Matt Welsh,
He's
and
not
Welsh
here
has gone to
anymore.
Truro. So, in my opinion, Colette's a hell of a goalie. So that's a tough one. I'll give some credit to your cousin though, Mr. Dan
Dan
Vautour.
Vautour,
He
yep.
had a
Dan's really
hell of
good
a
too.
run, stood in his head. So that is the schedule this year for the Elspach Hawks. Looking really good. A lot of fun stuff though. When I look at it, they they don't play Dalhousie in the first little while. That was one of the things I
Yeah.
noticed. They don't play Dalhousie until December the 7th. Dalhousie in Elspachtuck, and then Elsie in Dalhousie on January the 3rd. That's,
Yeah.
for me, that's up there for rivalries in the league, too. So
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing
it's
that.
it's one of those things where I love the people of Dalhousie, love them. If you wanted to see some of the nicest people in the world really want to see somebody get killed, a team just get killed, them cheering against the Hawks might have been one of the funniest things in the postseason. Because man, they do not like Elsie,
No.
and then they'll come to us and they'll be like, "Man, Rishi Buckton," like, "Yeah, we're from there. Can't really,
Listen, we're friends
can't
with some
really."
Hawks guys, but
We're
we're
yeah.
neutral here. We try
We
to be
love you
neutral.
guys. We love you guys, but we also love these guys. So we're just gonna
Uh,
wipe our hands clean
we're
from
gonna
this
stay
one and
neutral.
just, yeah,
So
neutral.
the Fredericton Express. Moving on to the next team here.
This
Opening
is the York
weekend.
Arena.
Opening weekend. Their only game is in Amherst on the road, 2 p.m. on Sunday, October 12th. Home opener versus El Spuckduck, which makes me happy. Going back to that River Valley rivalry with Elsie, those are
Yep.
always phenomenal games. Benji Curtis versus the El Spuckduck Hawks. Sign me up any day of the week. That's some damn good hockey. The other storyline there is you've got a bunch of Hawks last year returning back to Fredericton now playing against their former team. So that's going to be fun to watch. At the LBA, the Lady Beaverbrook Arena, beauty of a rink. The following weekend, they're at the Grand Harvey, which I did not expect them to be that early in the year. Saturday, October 25th, Miramichi and Fredericton, 7 p.m. So they start one game in each rink. They play the LBA, then they play the Grand Harvey the following week, and a week later, they're at the York. So we'll be able to maybe get a taste of each rink really early on.
I hope so because the York Arena is one that I really. We have a wrestling video planned for that one, so.
You got to settle down, you, with your wrestling. We're talking hockey, man. But they do have a lot of games at the York. If you look at this, they're playing 4 or 5 games at the York, so that's pretty cool. I've heard that people think that's going to become one of my favorite rinks in the league. So we'll see. Talking about Caleb Cook was like, dude,
What does he know?
He was like, you're gonna love the York. You know what? He knows a lot because he knows what kind of rinks that I love. I love Miramichi, nice old rink. Amherst, gorgeous old rink. I love going to Trackety. As cold as it is, it's a little too cold, and I'm very, very tender. But I do love Trackety.
My
I'm
God, you're just like
tender.
my knee.
Yeah, sugar knee, settle down, bitch. But yeah, I love this Fredericton schedule. It looks really fun. 7 p.m. starts pretty much every week, which I think is very cool. 7 p.m. in Fredericton means we'll be home before midnight. Life's good. Let's take a look at the next one. Miramichi Northman, like we said, they opened their season versus the Dalhousie Marauders.
We already looked at Miramichi.
Did we?
We did.
All right, fine. Are you sure?
We've gone all of them. We did.
No, we haven't looked at the Corsairs.
Peninsula.
The Corsairs playing games in both rinks. There was a lot of talk that they were only going to play in Shippigan this year. Those people were wrong. Opening night in Trackety. Week later, they're in Shippigan, and back and forth and back and forth. I love it. I love both of those rinks. I love going to the Peninsula, so I'm a happy boy.
They're one of those teams to watch this year. I mentioned this last week. It was not a good year last year, and what adjustments do they make?
I can tell you they're changing some stuff up on the admin side, right? Looking for a new coach. They got a new GM. A lot of the guys are still there, but they're kind of shaking it up a little bit. So I'll be curious to see what they do. I'll also be hoping to see some young blood maybe come in.
I agree.
Are the Peninsula a cup contender this year? In my opinion, probably not. I could be wrong. Like, let's be honest here. I could be dead wrong. I never would have put Miramichi up there last year, and here we are. Exactly. But I don't think they are. So would I want to see them maybe play a couple of young guys on the fourth line? Possibly. There's no lack of talent in the Peninsula. No lack of talent in the Peninsula, man. There's so many good players that deserve to play. So I'll be interested to see what their lineup looks like because, yeah, a lot of skill.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I said,
you think we've talked about every team? Let's go take a peek and double check it. Dalhousie, we talked about?
We have, yep.
All right, fine. I can't wait to get back to Dalhousie, though. Man, love that rink. Love those people.
Cake Alphonsine.
Yeah, I will go back and get some more Cake Alphonsine. I don't know. We'll see. So now, if we look at this schedule, Corey, I'm going to go to the overall BSHL schedule. If we look at, oh man, holy crap, they've fixed up the top of the page.
They did. Look at that.
The Bell Bay Rocks have a little logo there. I like that. Man, that Dalhousie logo looks better than it used to. Still haven't changed the LC one. Fredericton Express logo is there. The Peninsula logo is there. Looking good. Love to see some work on the website. Again, credit for getting this out this early. So let's just take a look at the first few weeks here, Corey. What one game pops out of you in the month of October?
In the month of October, oh geez, there's a lot of games. Um, Miramichi LC on October 24th. That's going to be interesting. Um, I don't know. Bell Bay's first game. I think that's going to be interesting. And Fredericton's first game because the two new teams.
The big one that I see that pops out at me, Bell Bay Dalhousie on
Yeah.
October the 18th. I think that's going to be the start of a very special rivalry,
Yeah.
especially considering less than a week later, Dalhousie makes the trip to Bell Bay. So that home and home, I think, is going to be really, really fun.
Yeah.
And like you said, man, I think the rematch of the finals is always special. So I think that's going to be something. But I also want to say Fredericton and Elsie, I think reigniting rather that rivalry from a couple of years ago. Let's not forget that the River Valley Lumberjacks eliminated the Elspucktuck Hawks in Game 7 in overtime. This is kind of that rematch. 2 years later, we're going to see a lot of those guys came over and played for the Hawks. I think that's going to be a very, very interesting game.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Like I really wasn't expecting to see the schedule out this early.
Dude, I
It's a
was
nice
floored
surprise.
today when I saw it. I was so excited. Ask Tracy. I was like, oh my God, the schedule's out. Screenshotted it, posted it, make sure everybody is aware. Thanks to the Buckthurst JCs for being the first team that I saw that shared it. That's how I knew the schedule was out, and I was jazzed, man. I'm not that excited on Christmas morning. I'm going to be honest with you. I was
He's
so
not.
excited. My first thought was, holy fuck, I want to get on StreamYard with Corey. My second thought was, how's Mark McGraw been this summer? Unrelated to the schedule. I just thought about Mark McGraw.
Yeah.
I just like the guy.
He's a nice guy.
Nice guy. Corey, that's all we got for this episode. Thank you for being here. This is going to be going up literally, I think, in about a half an hour or so. Happy July, everybody. Two episodes this week. To hell with it. We're July, Corey. We are July. Get to Bucktouche next week. IHW Monday night in Bucktouche. I can't wait. So Corey and I will be there. So anyway, schedules
That's the
on the
selling
website,
point.
guys.
The BSHL podcast is going to be there.
Yeah, the podcast will be there, baby. We're gonna eat some hot dog probably, or a poutine or something. Probably a
I'll eat
poutine. I
something.
think a good poutine.
Poutine
Anyway,
better.
thanks everybody for listening. We will be back soon.
Take care.
I was waiting for your take care. Freaking Corey. All right, bye,
Take
folks.
care.